All right, so we're going to get started in 1 minute. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're trying out something new. We are going to do a live on our network, Juneteenth Unveiled, Understanding the Journey from Our Roots, then this information session. I'm excited to have you all on with us. All right, so let's get started. I'll start by letting you all know who I am. My name is Athenia Rodney. I'm the CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC. We have been running for 15 years now. We are super excited to be in this place where we have been here for 15 years, long before it became a national holiday. So we are excited about that. Tell you a little bit about Juneteenth. So although it became a national holiday, people still don't know what Juneteenth is. And especially in our community, and that's not okay, right? And the reason why I feel like that's not okay, because it's about the celebration of our culture. So Juneteenth is the celebration of the Emancipation Proclamation when African Americans in the United States were freed, or when it was written in the bills that we were to be free. However, the reason why Juneteenth came about is because there were areas that were not free, even though that Emancipation Proclamation Declaration went out 2.5 years later, when they actually found out. And it was after a battle in Texas Galveston, Texas, that they were able to find that information out. And it just so happened to be June 19th, which they ended up proclaiming Juneteenth. And so there have been a number of organizations over the years who have been fighting to get Juneteenth to be a national holiday. And in 2021, we were able to be successful in getting that done. Please, if you have any questions as we're going through this process, please feel free to put it in the chat so that we can try to answer them for you. So our story, like I shared, we have been doing this for 15 years. We have gotten plenty of opportunities over the years to talk about our organization and what we have been doing in the community, and to highlight all African Americans who are doing amazing things. So we got to close the NASDAQ and say a speech, which was amazing. We also also done a number of different publications, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But our mission, at least our pillars, are focused on educating, empowering, edutainment, elevate, and to emerge. And all those things need to bring together, right? I always say that a number of the reasons why we are challenged in our community is because we don't do enough of this for each other. And so we wanted to create a platform that we're essentially offering that, encouraging it, and putting things in place so that we can pour into each other, because we don't do enough of that. So we are expected to have 37,000 people for this year. And thank you, all of you who are joining us. I see we have Shanae, Alisa, Casey's Aroma, welcome. Washery, sorry if I'm butchering some of these. If Eon Blaze, Tori Art 12, The Ancestor Speaks, Creative Beauty and Joy. So thank you all for joining. Really appreciate you all for coming on. So our leadership, our advisory board members are made up of over 40 community-based organizations. And we are all people of color. So I know a lot of organizations, I see them all over the place, especially on IG, where they are organizations of different hues. They are pushing the envelope on how to celebrate Juneteenth. But we want to make sure that we set the bar. We let everyone know that we are an organization of minority and small business owners. Our official media partner for this year is CBS News. We are really excited to have them on board this year. They are pretty dope, and we're looking forward to our partnership as we continue to expand on all networks. We'll also be featured in a couple of other networks as well, but CBS News is our media partner. So what does that mean for you as a vendor? That means that we will be on multiple publications. We are having conversations with them on some of their other networks that are part of CBS. So stay tuned. But once you become a vendor, all that information will be mentioned to you. All right. So these are just some information. And I know you're like, okay, we're going to get to the information about the vendors. I'm getting into it. I just like to make sure that you understand the organization, a little bit behind the scenes of what the organization is about. Because if you don't, then you're just signing up for organization, and that is not what I'm about. I want you to understand. I want you to know if this is the right place for you. Is this the right organization is going to meet the needs of what you are looking for? So this is why we like to share like all of the ways we kind of do promotions about our event, how long we established, so you know that we're not a fly-by-night organization. We didn't just wake up and say, oh, we're going to put this event together. But no, we've been doing this for a long time. Do we have everything 100% perfect? Absolutely not. No one will ever. But we can say that we're getting close to it. So our digital impressions every year ranges from 747 million people. So what does that mean? That means that through all of these different networks, through our TV impressions that we have had, 747 million people have eyeballs on our event. And we have had over 86 media coverage pieces, which means there are different pieces that we have been connected to. This is a little bit about our sponsors. I always say sponsors to me help to legitimize things because it makes you see that, especially when we have some big names, they're not just going to work with anyone. So we've had people from Uber, Home Depot, Red Bull, Ascend, Success Academy, Airbnb, T-Mobile, Coca-Cola, etc. So you can see we've had a plethora of different organizations working with us over the years. Our vision is to transform the ideas of minority entrepreneurs into scalable businesses that result in generational wealth. I know you're like, oh, well, why is that? I always say it's best to have a story behind why you do what you do. And my story goes like this. So I want to say it was maybe 2 years ago when Walmart was sharing that they wanted to have a Juneteenth ice cream. And they had put out to get some information from organizations. And so they didn't find any Black businesses that could make enough ice cream in time. So they put out their own ice cream. And they got so much backlash from the community about it that they had to shut it down. They had to put up a whole session, do a whole repeal, everything. And as people were upset and frustrated about it, I was like, okay, well, what would you do? Would you be prepared if Walmart came to you and said that this is what they are looking for? And almost 98% of the people said no, they would not be prepared. And part of that reasoning is 99% of African American businesses only have one staff member, 99%. So which means only 1% has over one staff member. So which means you the cook, the baker, the candlestick maker, all of that. And if you are all of those things, then it is very hard for you to be able to mass produce to that level. Nor did individuals have an idea of where they could go to also mass produce for that level. So those are some of the things that I like to do in our conversations is talk about like how to support our businesses so that they can grow. We actually have a session later on today. We'll be talking about you and marketing your business using social media. So we hope you're able to join us for that. So to talk about our events, this is our schedule of events. Screenshot it if you can. The Celebration of Black Kings is our first event. It happens on Friday, June the 14th from 7 to 10. We still are working on the location. So since we have that, we'll share that out to you. But we are looking for people to register to select someone who they think might be a king. So if you know someone who falls under the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, feel free to go to our website under awards and nominate someone. Community Day Festival is going to be at Linden Park and Gershon Park over in East New York, which is our staple location. We've been there for the longest. I think we've been in that particular space about 11 years, and that's always on Saturday. And then our flagship location is at Prospect Park on Sunday, June the 16th. So we start that day off, which is also Father's Day, with a parade with our fathers and their children, which is always dope to have. Then we go into our concert day and we have our fashion show. Then on Wednesday, which is our virtual day, we will be doing our virtual summit broadcast. I know most people have off on that day. It's a day to kind of kick back and to really join us on fireside chats as we discuss health and wellness. And then throughout the week, we're going to be working with the Black Restaurant Coalition to do a Juneteenth crawl. So we're going to be highlighting over 100 restaurants across all 5 boroughs. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to put it in the chat. And thank you everyone for joining. So these are just some pictures of our event over at Prospect Park. As you said, we had Councilmember Chiose, who was there and comes out often to enjoy himself. We have vendors. We have dancers, performers, and fashion shows, as you can all see going down. We also had Councilmember Farrah Lewis. She was up there in the picture, too. These are just some more pictures so that you can get an idea, just a space to really kind of bring your blanket, lounge, enjoy yourself, have fun as the sun goes down. These are pictures of our Saturday event, which is our family day. We have a lot of activities. As you can see, we have a stage for local talent to be present. We have Home Depot, who does activities for the kids. We have storytelling. We give out books, a lot of things for the children. We have the Brooklyn Nets, who are doing basketball clinics with the kids. So it's endless, the amount of things we have, and especially our vendors, because our goal is to support our small businesses. So definitely come out for that. This is just some video. Like I shared, we were in 86 pieces, and these were some of our on-air media coverage that we got. Now to get into the nitty-gritty of the vendor information. Now, what does it take to be a vendor with Juneteenth? We have a number of expectations that we do ask of our vendors, and that is just because we want to set the bar. What they say, don't just say it, be about it, and that's definitely how we show up. So, as far as documents are concerned, there are a couple of documents. So if you are a product vendor, which means that you're not selling food or anything that you can eat, then all you need is a street vendor permit. That is something that's fairly easy. It's about $35 you get from the city, and we will send you the link once you sign up. It takes about 2 weeks to get your paperwork. It takes 2 weeks after you submitted all your paperwork to get something back. So the deadline for submitting is May 21st, so that we'll have it back in time. And if you are a food vendor, you need to do the street permit and the food handler's license. They only accept the New York food handler's license. So I know some people have food licenses from other states. You will have to have the food handler's license from New York. Okay, we got some people joining us on Zoom. Welcome. And insurance. So if you're a food vendor, you are required to have insurance. If you're a product vendor, now I always suggest that you get insurance, even though it is not necessary. But we are in the age right now where people feel like they need to get rich quick. So they are looking for ways that they can sue and get some money. So if you have candles and you have a product, you have candle products, and they take it home and they burn themselves, they're gonna be calling you like, "Hey, I burnt myself in your candles. Can you, And if you're like, no, then they can send out information to sue you. And I always say that it's better to have insurance, because insurance will always fight so that they can make the other person wrong. So you'll have, for insurance, is maybe $250. Now, if you were to hire a lawyer on the back end, you would have to do at least a $5,000 retainer. And that's a lot. And that's just the start. Just for them to get started, just for them to look at your work, is $5,000. So it makes sense, and it behooves you to just pay $250, so you can cover your back, and you can have them fight for you, so that you don't have to pay out anything. So content and promotion. So once you sign up, you make your payment, you'll start to submit your documents, and then it's like, well, how do I submit my documents? So we send you a Google Drive that will have 2 folders in it, one for you to put your pictures and another one for you to put your documents in. So you will either, in the documents one, you'll have your food handler's license, your insurance, and your permit from the state. Or if you're just a product, it'll be a permit from the state and your insurance. In the other one, you will put pictures. Now, what we say is, do not put pictures in here that you are not wanting us to share about you, okay? Last year, we had someone who put some old pictures of their business in, and they were upset that we used that picture. So we don't want that to happen. The space of you using the drive is for you to really just share your information with us. And feel free, like I said, to drop any questions in the chat. We are on live as well. So welcoming everyone who is coming into the Zoom room, as well as everyone who is following us outside. So y'all didn't miss much. We're just getting into the nitty gritty about what it takes to be a vendor and what the process looks like once you become one. Awesome. So we have we'll do promotions of vendors. We'll start May 1st. But we will provide a link for you in Canva for you to be able to start your promotions early. So I know a couple of questions before in other sessions, they've asked us, like, can we promote our businesses before that? Because they want to make sure their family and friends know. So the answer is yes. We want you to definitely be promoting, but we won't start until May 1st. People are like, why? Because we have so many vendors, we want to get them all out around the same time so that everyone gets the same amount of support and encouragement and shine like in the space. And because between May and June, that's when we have our highest number of viewers on our social media platform and on our website. And we want to make sure that people are getting it then. So I think I have some questions. Can you please repeat the parts about permits? I couldn't hear anything. Sure. So the parts about the permit. So if you are a product vendor, you need to have a what's called a street permit. It's a mobile street permit from the New York State, and we will send you the link for anyone who is needed. But you do have to have your EIN number, and an EIN number is free to have. So I don't want anybody to ever pay for an EIN number. So it is free to have an EIN number, but that is something that you will need to do your street permit. And if you are a food vendor, you need to have your food handler's license and a street permit and insurance. So you need to have those three things. I hope that helps, Ken. Let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks. Awesome. Okay. So we'll keep going. We encourage, go back. I finished. There we go. All right. So talking about media exposure from our news partner, our goal is to highlight at least 5 of our vendors. So our vendors who have gotten their payments in, who haven't caused us much drama, and what that just means is when we ask for certain documents that they're able to get them in on time, or they're able to respond to us. They've, signed up into our chat groups and all those kind of things. Those are the people who would usually suggest to get that additional exposure. So it pays to be, on time, and pays to ask questions because I consider myself to be a funny person. So, and then as far as promotions are concerned, we'll also be promoting you guys on our live stream. We do a lunch and learn that we invite you to present. And when you are promoting, one of the things that we want you to make sure you're doing, because we have so many days of our events, we want to make sure that people know which day you're going to be there. Because trust me, we've had plenty of times where people are like, oh, they came to an event on Saturday and their friend was like, oh, but my event, I'm not going to be there until Sunday. I'm a vendor on Sunday. And that's not what we want to have. We want your friends to be able to support you on the day that you're there. So make sure that you're putting the day that you're going to be there. So if it's Saturday or Sunday, for the day, time, and the location. Because sometimes people get a little mixed up. They're like, oh, I thought it was at Prospect Park, and it's actually at Gershwin Park, since we are at multiple locations. And tag us at Juneteenth NY so that we can repost it and share it in our stories. We love doing that. So prohibited acts. There is no smoking, drinking, and drugs are permitted at the event. Our event is a family-friendly event and it is outdoors, right? So we know people are like, oh, it's outdoors and CBD is legal. Yes, it is. But this is the caveat. It is very legal, but somebody is making money off of it, right? So for our events, we have to pay for insurance, just like I was just sharing with you, right? So we have to have insurance because we have a lot of people at an event. So insurance for us is about $3,500. And if we have CBD, our insurance jumps up to $8,000 just to have one vendor with CBD. So that is why, unfortunately, when we have our outdoor events, we are not able to have CBD vendors. Now, we do have a number of indoor events, and I'll share a little bit about those events because we actually have one coming up in a couple of weeks in March for Women's History Month. So we hope that if you do sell CBD, that should be interested in doing one of those. But for these events for Juneteenth, we unfortunately are not able to. And then just smoking and drinking and stuff like that, like keep it off the premises. Like I said, it's a family friendly. We have plenty of children, parents, elders that are at the event, and we want everyone to be comfortable. So we ask that you walk away from the event if you are going to smoke, and especially if you're at Prospect Park, please make sure you put the cigarette out so that we don't start a forest fire. The last thing we would hate to be like is Juneteenth event starts a fire in Prospect Park. Yeah, no, that's not what we want to be in the news for. So just letting y'all know. All right. So just to give you a little bit about the schedule. So our schedule is Saturday. We start pretty early. So we like to show you, give you an idea. This is not going to be the actual schedule. This is just an idea of what the schedule will look like Saturday and Sunday to let you know that a lot goes on before vendors get to the place. And just like we give you grace and you ask us for grace, we ask that you give us grace as well, because there are a lot of things that we don't have any control over, right? Some of the things we don't have control over are the people who are supporting us. So in the morning, the police precinct has to come close off the street. They also have to come and remove all of the vehicles that are on the street. That takes time. So not all the time, although we try to schedule it out and give them enough time, somebody might be late. Think about yourself. How many times have you gone to work late? So just think about them. They're people too. So they might be late. It's happening in that space. We also have the street sweeper that comes. Sometimes the street sweeper comes before the police department comes. So the cars are still in the street when the street sweeper comes, and he has to go around the cars because he can't go through. So it's just a number of things have happened in the past where people are like frustrated with us, and it's like it's not anything that we can do. We've tried our best. We've done all the things that we can, and we're in our community, and not all the time do we get treated the best in our community. But we have definitely been pushing them since we've been doing this for so long. Every year we're like, making sure they get plates of food. Like we're making sure we take care of them, so that they take care of us when it comes to the event. But do know, like, things do happen. Life happens. And so we want to just make sure that when you come, to know that. So that is why we say joining our chat groups. We have a Facebook group. Things like that are going to be very important, because that's where immediate messages are going to be shared about like what's going on, or updates that everyone needs to know about in a minute. So like, oh, we're going to be delayed a half an hour. We're setting up so that you're not getting frustrated. But we do give you enough time. We give you at least an hour time to come and set up. And as far as why we need you to be punctual and be there on time, we have our photographers, we have our videographers, we have press, and in this year, which is new, we're going to have some influencers that are going to be walking around. They're going to be taking pictures of you, taking videos of your space. And press is going to be walking around interviewing people, and influencers are sure are going to be interviewing people as well. They're going to be doing B-roll, which basically just means they're going to be recording you as you're doing your setup of your stations, so that they can share like, oh, it takes a lot to go through doing vending events, putting it together, all of that kind of stuff. So we just want you to be aware. So now if you are late in getting to your space and getting your booth to set up, do know that you might not get these things, because once they are done in that time frame of doing photo, video, and press and stuff like that, they have to go to other areas. So that's when like the children's area will open up, and then have to go over there and start taking pictures and stuff there as well. So there might be one or two videographers lagging, or they might come back, but we want to do this in a timely and orderly fashion. So the best that you could do is be there to be on time. Just checking to make sure we don't have any other questions. Okay. Next is about setting up your station. No cars are to drive into the space. So I just want you to know that please bring people to help you unload your station, your booth, to set it up. So basically, you'll be able to come in. This is on Saturday on Vermont Street and Vermont and Linden Boulevard. At the corner, you will be asked to take all your stuff out for your table. You will go through your registration packet, which will include your table number, the wristbands, 2 water tickets, the protocols of the day, which will be like the itinerary for the day, and then a garbage bag. And so we're just asking that you have volunteers to help you to unload the stuff, and then so someone can then move the car so that the next person can come in and unload. And we've been very successful being able to do it that way and get everybody in and set up on time. So just trust me, it has worked. We have volunteers that are there to help you as well. to unload and help take your stuff to the table. But I always say I don't want any of the volunteers being left alone with your product. So definitely have someone that you trust from internal to help that volunteer bring the stuff to your table. Now, why garbage bags? You give everyone garbage bags because at the end of the day, if anyone has gone to Labor Day parade afterwards, the street is a mess afterwards. People don't care. People just throw stuff all over the place. We have a bunch of garbage bins all over the place that get changed out frequently. And then we ask all of the vendors to set up a garbage bag at their stations as well so people can throw them away. And if you see garbage on the floor, please just help us with picking it up. It helps to make the process flow a lot easier during breakdown so we could just open up the streets immediately, because directly after our event, one of our partners, they have a basketball tournament inside of Gershwin, and we just want to leave the space better than we found it. So booth setup. What does that look like? What is included in your booth? You will get a 10 by 10 space. So we allocated a 10 by 10 space. You will get 1 6-foot table and 2 folding chairs. We are not providing any tents, so you are responsible for bringing your own tent, and we highly suggest that you do so. The event is outside, and you have the elements of nature at your disposal. And that means the sun could be hot and beaming down on you. It could be drizzling because we are out there, rain or shine. And last 2 years, we've had the winds that has also been a little challenging. And I think maybe 2 years ago, one of the branches fell down and it hit somebody. And again, not one of those things that we can control, right? But if everyone had a tent, then it would have had something to kind of barricade you. Now, if you don't have tents, we can provide them for additional fees. So I think the vendor charges about $250 for a tent. So you would just need to let us know about that. But if you are providing your own tent, which is fairly easy, I do say to get a pop-up easy tent, EZ as in zebra tent. It is fairly easy. It takes about 1 to 2 people to put together the pop-up tent. It's maybe $150, $200 max, and you get to use it year after year and for whatever event. What I will say is all tents must be weighted and tethered to the neighbor's tent. So when you come, if you see another tent that's already there, we need you to tether it, which is some Ziplocs to the next table that there is. It gives more leverage for your tent. So most tents, they have a air weight of about 7 miles per hour. So if 7 miles per hour winds pass, it can lift up the tent. If it's weighted, that gives you another 15 pounds. And if it's tethered, it gives you about 25 pounds. So it would have to be about 25 pounds of wind to be able to lift up the tent. So that's the reason why. Again, this is just how we make the environment safe for everyone. Tablecloth. So one of the things that my biggest pet peeve is having plastic tablecloths at your outdoor functions. It just doesn't look good. And it doesn't present you and us in the best light. Like I shared, we have a bunch of people who are going to be walking around taking pictures, and you want to stand out in your best light. You want to be proud of your presentation. And when you have plastic tablecloths, they're very light. They fly all over the place. Most of the times people are putting their bags, their boxes and stuff from their products under their table, and that's all you see. And it doesn't look good. So we suggest that you get fabric tablecloths. And these are 2 suggestions of ways that you could do it. You can get, just regular fabric from the store and then get a little banner to put over you, and then, or the bottom one where you can get a custom made one. Will we provide the zip ties? So we will have some zip ties that will be available, yes. And that's from Kente Combs. Hey, Kente Combs. And if you do not have, or if you come with a table that is not in the best of shape, a tablecloth is not in the best of shape, we will provide one for you, but it will be at a cost. It's to rent. It will be $25 to rent, and it will be black, which we figured would not take away from anybody's branding. All right. So we do surveys with our attendees after our events, and this is something that came up a lot, where people did not have ways to pay. And I was like, really? That was totally surprising. So we wanted to make sure that we let our vendors know ahead of time how to prepare. So getting acrylic sign holders and putting up all of your different QR codes for any ways that you're willing to accept funds. So whether that be Cash App, PayPal, Square, Apple Pay, Google Pay, please to make sure you're doing that. And also to have cash, because there are a lot of people, namely some of our seniors, who come to the event and they don't use credit card. They'll take $50 or $100 out their house with their grandkids, and they're like, all right, all I got is $100, baby. So once it's gone, and that is, when people don't have change for the cash, it becomes an issue. What I have seen in the past, though, because we have created the Facebook group where our vendors join and they get to know each other and spend time with each other, and we also do some activities leading up to the event where we'll invite our vendors. They get to build relationships with each other. And especially when you tether to somebody, you get to know them a little bit. So some people have forgotten to get cash, and then their next door neighbor will accept the cash for them and then just cash app them or Zelle them the money. So it behooves us, again, to work together. In the same vein, making sure you label your items, which is also something on our surveys that our attendees shared. Some of the products. So just imagine you're standing in front of your table and you are talking to a customer, and they're, pulls a couple of things, maybe $100 worth of product to the side that they're ready to buy. And then somebody else comes and they're like, oh, excuse me, how much is this? And you're like, oh, give me 1 minute. So is that person going to stand there and wait until you finish calculating, putting all of the stuff in, doing all of the exchange and all of those things? They just want to find out the price of an item. So you know what ends up happening? They put the item down and they walk away and go to somebody else's table. So the whole idea for us is to make you successful. So this is some of the ways that we suggest to be able to do so. Make sure you have labels or you have clear identified signs that will have the information. So you can create one sign that just has all of the prices for all of your items on the table, and then one that has all of the QR codes. So it's real simple and easy for people to just come to your table, get the information, and walk away. And then make sure, especially if you're food products, that you're labeling, because there are a lot of food allergies that are out there. And people, I'm doing a diet right now, and I see so many people doing different types of diets, and we just don't know. It depends on what's in the products if they'll be able to buy it or not. So make sure you have them labeled. So uniformity, brand colors, and matching shirts. So one of the things that we say is, you have to be a brand wherever you go so that people are familiar. When people see a big M anywhere they go, it could be in China, it could be in Africa, it could be in the United States, they know that that is McDonald's. And you want people to be able to look at your brand and to automatically say your business name as well. So that can go a number of different ways. So the top picture, the business is I Had a Praying Grandmother, right? And everyone doesn't have the same color on, but all of the material from the hat, the shirts, and the tablecloth have I Had a Praying Grandmother on it. So you know that that is part of their brand. And then the bottom one, their Ways of Fashion. And it's not wearing the same thing, but they have prints, African on their clothes on the table and on the breast pocket of the gentleman. And I always say worst case scenario, King's Plaza is our trusted friend. There are about 5 stations, maybe more now, inside King's Plaza, where you can go and get some rhinestones or some print or something like that on your shirt. And even worst case scenario, just get a bunch of shirts or have everyone wear the same color. Everyone wear red, something red. Everyone wear something green. Whatever your brand colors are, just make sure it's uniform so people can see you and know that they're part of your brand. Like I said, you're going to be on TV, on the news. You'd be like, oh, if you see me, I was on Channel 7. I had on we all had on green outfits. Trust me, seeing people see that green, I was like, oh, there you were. So you want to be able to be recognized that way. All right. Engagement. Again, other things that shared were an issue when it came to being a vendor. Was not being engaged by the vendors. They was like, oh, they don't look like they want to sell stuff. They just sitting there and they look bored, or they look, they got an attitude. So be engaged, be accommodating. If you see somebody walking by, say, hey, how you doing? You want to stop by and take a look at my products, or come smell this, or come taste this. So do things that might engage people. Stand in front of your booth, smile and greet them. Promote your products. Hey, I have candles, I have oils, I have t-shirts, I have hats, whatever it is. Let people know what it is, because they might just be walking by and you were like, oh, you know what? Even promote, it's Father's Day tomorrow. Do you have a Father's Day gift? Correlate it to something so that people can understand why they might want to or need to buy. Collect contact information. So I always say, and a lot of people, a lot of vendors have been doing a lot of pop-up events, right? And they'll get frustrated because they'll do the event and they don't feel like they made back all the money that they put into it. And my question to them is always, what else did you do? Make sure that you made back your money. So are there other ways that you can be connecting with attendees? And there are. So you want to be able to connect with people beyond that time. There was a time when I used to sell Mary Kay, and I went to an event and it was at a school. And at the event, I think I paid maybe $75, $100 to do it. And I did not walk away with one sale. But I did walk away with a couple of contacts. When I got home, I sent them all an email saying, hey, thank you for stopping by booth for, trying out the products. One person contacted me and they hired me to do an event at another school. So I made $5,000 off of that. I would not have been able to do that if it were not me following up with them afterwards, building a relationship with them afterwards. So I say, if you are doing any event, and not just ours, but anybody's event, find ways to collect information. And the best ways to do that is maybe doing a raffle or free giveaway of something at your table. Like, hey, please give me your contact information. You want to be entered into a raffle for $500 worth of product, or, something to that effect, or a free treat before the end of this event. So do something to draw people to your table. So in cleanup time, so pack up time is 6 p.m. And we ask everyone to please stay until the end, because what happens is people will start cleaning up before 6 and start cleaning up at 5. And people are sitting down at the stage. We release everyone to stage with all the performances and awards and stuff at 5:45. And then we ask them to go and support the vendors. And we do that every year. And then people go to the vendors and they close down. Or they got like a couple of things on the table and they're like, oh, but I need a large t-shirt. And now you got to go through all of your stuff to try to find a large t-shirt, and you end up making so much of a mess. So we always suggest we give you time. We give you a full hour to break down your table, and we allow you to bring your cars in at that time so that you can put everything directly into your car. So we support you and helping you to get things done the way that you need to. But we need you to also support us in making sure we stay until 6 o'clock at the end of the event. And once the event is over, we ask you to return the chairs, the tables, and the tablecloth if you rented one, and your garbage to designated areas. So we will show you where the designated areas are when you walk in. So contact information, if you need to contact us and you have any questions, send an email to vendors@juneteenthny.com, and we will send you a message within 24 hours. So that is the best way to contact us if you are a vendor. Now, we have our Facebook group, and I am in the Facebook group all the time and engaging with people there. So if you have questions, that's the best place to put it. Unless it's a personal question, you can DM me directly. The week of the event, we will have a prep meeting where we will go over a lot of these things that we talked about, because I'm sure you have a million things going on in your life, as do I. When you have multiple children and a husband, you forget, right? All of the things that we just talked about. So we'll go have a meeting to go over things with all of the vendors a week before the event, answer any questions, let you know about all of the things that you might, all of the Q&As. We'll also give you a contact phone number on that for you to only use the day of. Remember, we talked about being on time and and making sure that you are staying connected with us. That is where you will be using that phone number to let us know, hey, I got into an accident and I'm going to be running a little late. Can you adjust my foot, something like that, so that we can accommodate you when you come in? And what we'll do is we'll just make sure that your table is closer to the street side, so that when you come in, you can easily bring your stuff in and you don't have to walk it all the way into the street. Now that we've gotten this far, the question is, I'm sure, how much does it cost? So we have a couple of different options. We have a virtual vending option, which will allow you the opportunity for us to help you create a 30-second commercial, which will be on our virtual summit that we talked about that has over 20,000 views. And this year, we're actually partnering with Brick as well, who will be rebroadcasting all of our material. It'll also be, depending on which package you pick, you can be included in our lunch and learns that we have that go up every Thursday. So you do a commercial that will go on there. And then throughout the summit, you'll have commercials. And then throughout the holidays, we also will put up the commercials like Black History Month, Kwanzaa, Black Solidarity Day, like all of those different things. We have in-person vendors on Saturday, which is $450. And then we have the in-person vendors on Sunday, which is $550. And then if you want to do both, it's $9. And if you're a food vendor, the same. So we don't differentiate between the food vendors and the other vendors because some places will charge way more. I totally understand. I'm a business person. And I'm not trying to, this is purely to pay for the event. Our permits and insurance, as I told you, tables, the chairs, like all of those things are what your fees pay for. And to make sure that you have a team of people to support you throughout the day. These are the other events that I was telling you about. So we just did our Black History Month event for February. We are doing Women's History Month, and that is March 23rd. And will be a flyer shortly that will be an opportunity if anyone is interested in being a vendor there. I think we only have 2 vendor spots left. We talked about our Juneteenth celebration. We will be doing a health awareness month in October. And then for Kwanzaa, we do a full week of activities, both virtual and in person. So this again is just talking about what our virtual vendors are. 30-second commercial reel viewed by 20,000 people, repeated during major holidays, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa, and MLK Day, and on our lunch and lines on Thursdays as well. Special event vendors. So another thing that we get, so we also give surveys to our vendors after each event as well. And, because we always are trying to strive to figure out how do we get better? How do we make what we do better each and every year? And one of the things were we were telling them too late about opportunities that they could be a part of. So we decided to say it up front. Before you even walk in the door, we're letting you know what's available to you. So we have our Black Kings Award celebration that I shared with you. It is a VIP event, networking event. Tickets are $125 for individuals and $5,000 for a table. There's an opportunity. We have 28 men, between 28 and 50 men that we give awards to every year. And so we ask to give to them. So these are high profile individuals. So you have the opportunity to include items for up to 50 people to go into the give bags. And now we would need to know about that if you're interested in that as soon as possible. And the other is you can provide for everyone that's at the event. So there's 250 people that's at the event. So it's either 50 items for just the VIP or 250 items for everyone that attends the event. And again, this is an opportunity for you to get exposure. Because you are a vendor, we do not charge an additional fee or anything like that. I know some people are like, oh, we'll charge you to submit items, but we do not do that here. We're almost there. This is just to give you an idea of the type of people who we had, the level of followers, and a lot of them will go on their social media and say, hey, I was at this Juneteenth event. I got these dope products from this business. You got to go check them out, so on and so forth. So it is definitely an opportunity to get some brand recognition and to get some additional followers and some new business. These are just some pictures at the event of us celebrating. Again, I like to show proof. Like, I'm not just telling y'all this is what we do. We actually do the things we're sharing. This is the information about the Gold Women's event that we are doing. If you're interested in being an attendee, it is $40, and to vend, it is $199. For this particular event. Another opportunity, so like I shared, we're doing our virtual summit. We are doing that live, and there are different things that you can do. So you might be to dress up the host, or you might have a mug that we can have on a table with your branding, or a vase, or something to that effect. So that's definitely an option for you for the virtual summit. And we had a question, how much to vend at the Black Kings Awards? We do not allow any vending at that event. We don't have any vending at that event. All of that is product. So even if you're like a baker and you have cakes or sweets or treats or something like that, that could be something that you want to contribute to put in or set up a table at the event, but it won't be anything to sell. Like if that's not a selling space, it's a black tie event. So it's a very upscale event. There won't be any vendors there. Any other questions? I don't see any. Is the information about the summit, which we talked about, the viewers. It's a fireside chat. We have 30-minute segments that we're talking about health and wellness. And then in between those segments, we're showing our commercials. One of the things, because I like to put my money where my mouth is, I am a business coach. And I help to businesses expand their brand. And so what I wanted to do as an additional offering for being a vendor with us is to give some freebies. So we will do a social media consultation, which means we'll go through your website. We'll give you suggestions on what you can do to make engagements on your website. We'll also give you an IG checklist. That will give you ideas on what you can do, like even about hashtags and things of that nature. A brand style guide, which is something that I'm very big on, like having your brand and making sure everyone is aware of your brand. Your colors, like everywhere I go, I always have something red. I mean, my hair is always red, so, but needless to say the least, but I'm always wearing something red. Might be earrings, lipstick, some shoes, something like that. So, and that's part of my brand. Then a buyer persona platform as well. So we'll give you a document that allows you to identify who your buyer is. A lot of people are like, when they ask the question who your buyer is, they'll be like, oh, everyone. And I'm like, no, everyone is not your buyer. Your buyer is the person who is going to look for your type of business and purchase for you. Just because you sell water doesn't mean that everybody is willing to purchase water from you. So how do you figure out who your person is? So that buyer persona document will help you do that. And we're rounding it out. The last couple of things are just some pictures of spaces so that you get an idea. This is what our event looks like at Prospect Park. We have the stage there in the front. We have the vendor stations. We'll have on the outside, you see food truck at Prospect Park. We are only allowed to have food trucks there because they have running water on their establishments. So as far as vendors are concerned, those are the only type of food vendors we're able to have. If you are a product vendor, we're fine with having any type of product vendor, but we do limit the number of product vendors. We're not going to have 10 clothing vendors or, 10 people doing those or something like that, or jewelry. We want to give variety to the people who are coming to the space. And this space is our location at Gershwin. We have the park and the street, so we are in the entire space. We have the Brooklyn Nets who are doing a basketball clinic. We use to do, this year, we're actually going to have miniature golf. We're going to be teaching people how to play golf. So that's really cool. We'll be doing some relay races. We'll be having some contests and giving out prizes for different things there. And then if you go to the next slide, we have a close-up of what the street space looks like. And this is the street space. So we have the DJ and the stage in the center of the street, and then we have the vendors all along the entire space, and then we have the food trucks at the end. So this will kind of give you an idea of what the space looks like. And that is all for the presentation. Any questions? Any questions in Zoom? Any questions online? Let me know what you have for us. Any questions? Any thoughts? Are you ready to sign up? Because we're ready to have you. If you are, this was awesome in detail. Thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate you for joining. We try to make sure that we're giving you as much information as possible. Like I said, I used to be a vendor before I went into doing event planning full time. So this was eons ago. But I know some event planners are just putting events together just to make numbers for their event and not thinking about the vendors and what they're getting out of it. And so we wanted to make sure that we were there and we were doing this. Hey, Phoenicia, very informative. Thanks for joining. Is there an application for the Women's History event? Yes, there is. If you go to our website, JuneteenthNY.com, and you go to events, you'll see the women's event there, and you can make your payment to be a vendor there. Brooklyn, Ray Lewis, It's not Linden Boulevard. It's Caton Avenue. No, it's Linden Boulevard. It's Linden Boulevard and Vermont Street where we do our event at. So my Caton Avenue is not where our event is located. Our event is at the Gershwin Park on Linden Boulevard and Vermont Street. Trust me, I've been doing it there for 12 years. I am absolutely sure. But thank you. Any other questions? Brooklyn Ray Lewis, how much for the setup fee? Let me know which setup fee you're talking about. Is that the setup fee at Gershwin for the tents and stuff? If you are looking for the tents, I guess the prices are on our site. So once you register, we can send you the link with all of the breakdown of fees. And that's for a tent, tablecloth. If you basically just want to come and have all of that stuff set up for you, we can have that done. And you would just have to bring your products. Which day for which event site? On Saturday is at Gershwin, and on Sunday is at Prospect Park. Ask Big Funny application for Women's History event. Event again is in our website, JuneteenthNY.com. So if you can go to the website and then you go to events, we can share that with you. Would like have more details about the Black Kings event? Do you have to pay, or is this a form of advertising? So if you want to attend the event, you would have to purchase a ticket, which is the $150. But if you just want to advertise your event, there is no extra cost to do that. So you would just let us know in your application if you want your products to be included, and then we will add your products to the list, and then we'll let you know what date we need all of the products to be mailed and where they need to be mailed to or dropped off. Juneteenth, Rhode Island. This is great. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. All right, guys. If no other questions, thank you again. We appreciate you, and we're going to off. Have a good night. And if you have any further questions, feel free to DM us or send us an email at vendors@juneteenth.ny.com. Have a good one.